Well, happy weekend, everybody. This is Rick with Hit and Run Candlesticks, and I thought I would toss some charts out there for us to ponder over the weekend. I am a little late. This is Sunday. I meant to get it out yesterday, but, well, life happens sometimes. So here they are. Let's take a quick look at them. Let's start with TLRY. TLRY, here we go. There we are. So TLRY has been trending up. We can see that right here, trending up. Of course, after it's been trending down. It's been trending up here. It broke out of the 50-period moving average. That's the blue line here. And it rallied up to our dotted deuce. That's the red dotted line right there. And then we've pulled back and stabilized. Looks like to me like it's stabilized in this area. So I'm looking for TLRY, a buy inside this green box here, pretty much over the T line, and I would like it below, above the green box. So I want a pretty tight entry because I'm going to pretty much use the T line, the 50-day moving average, maybe just slightly below the 50. Here, let's go ahead and put that up. We'll put that up right there, and there we go. So I'm looking for a stop of about $5.69, $5.70. I always round things off. Now I'm not looking at 68, 680 for a target. We've already tested. I'm looking to blow through that area, and then the next target be up toward the 200-day simple moving average. Let's check this in here. You know, we might have to put a line around 810, 815 here. So with an entry, say inside the green box here, we're looking at 30%, 40% up to the 200-period moving average. And I have it marked to the 50 simple, so we better go take a look at the weekly. And here's the weekly with the 50-period simple moving average on the weekly chart. So very possible we see this TLRY get all the way up to 1030 up here. And it can go higher. This is just what I'm looking for a trade. This is how I'll look to trade the chart. Over here, we have a nice little morning star on the weekly chart that has popped up. Walk the T-line here. Those are not familiar. Those of you that are not familiar with the T-line, watch some of the videos. I talk about the T-line often. One of my favorite moving averages, when I finally realized how important the T-line was, it truly changed my life. And now there are lots of people teaching the T-line out there, so it's worth a look. Okay, so TLRY is on the list. Weekend chart to ponder. Let's take a look at another one. How about some GE here? I'm actually thinking about buying some GE on the little longer term. I've got two different accounts, and the trading account, which that's what we talk about here. But I'm thinking also about buying G a little bit on the longer term. And here we've popped up around above the 50-day simple. And this became a rounded bottom breakout. And it's still in that rounded bottom breakout setup, but it just doesn't quite have the percent that we need to the 200 up here. That's the red line. But it is a pretty good looking chart. A little choppy right now, right in here. And what I'm looking for is about $8.30, $9.30, and then up to about $9.95 or $10. Let's go take a look at that weekly. There we go. So we move above the weekly 50 at about $8.30, and that becomes around a bottom breakout. And that's my favorite chart strategy at all. And what I'm looking for basically is a downtrend where the 50 is below the 200. Price to come back up through the 50 and then travel up to that 200 to test the 200. It could break out, but the trade is over for us at the 200. We'll reevaluate, becomes a different trade at the 200 up here. So on the weekly, we're sitting right here with a very nice doji above the T-line. Trend indicator is green, and we're just under the 50 period. So a little bit of a pop gets you up there. And then we can start making up this money when it moves in there. But on the daily, a little choppy. I'm looking for a buy area in the buy box here. I think I'm going to tighten that up just a little bit, because I think what we're going to want to do is put our initial stop. We want it to work for us right away. You know, we don't want it to move down 10% and then take it out. We want to be in it. We want to buy it. Now, it may not move way up here fast, but we don't want to buy it and just have it start dumping. So we're going to put a pretty tight stop on it right away. As it starts moving up, then we'll loosen up a little bit as the trade becomes worth more. So we'll watch for that 8.30, 9.30, $10 up here to start with. Let's see. Let's another pot stock. We looked at TLRY just a moment ago. Let's look at CGC. CGC is well. Let's start the weekly on this one. So here's the weekly. We have a beautiful morning star signal here, popped up, and we're right above the 50-period moving average, and we've got a beautiful rounded bottom breakout set up here. So I've got my target up here at 2340, and that's right at the deuce and the 200-period moving average. Back to the daily for an entry, looking at something in this green box here. And when I buy it, what I want is for the close to be above the 50 period. So I could buy it below the 50 period. I'm sorry, the T line. I apologize. I can buy it below the T line, but at the end of the day, I want it to close above the T line. If I buy it above the T line, I want it to stay above the T line. Now I'm going to put a stop on it, and I'm going to put my stop a little bit lower because I want to give it room, a little bit of room. There we go. But I want the close to be above the T line. And then we can start marching up here toward that 2340 area on CGC. PACW, whoops, not that one. Let's do this one first. Let's do a semiconductor first. Take a look at CRUS. This is, I think this is constructing a pretty nice bottom here. We've had a bit of a downtrend. You can see that here. We're kind of sliding down. But then all of a sudden, we have really worked on this. The chart traders have worked on this. We've broken out of the 50-period moving average, broke out of the 200-period moving average, and now we're back testing. Thursday, well, let's see, that's Thursday, so that would be Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. Look at those three dojis in there on Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. And then we have this big bullish engulf Thursday and Friday, just a nice little inside day holding over the T-line. So I'm kind of liking the way this is looking. I see an entry inside this big box here, big green box. And then, you know, follow through. We talk about follow through, buy on strength, that sort of thing. That's what I'm going to be looking at with over 69.80. Now, I have no problem personally buying down here. But what I'm going to do is put my stop in. And I'm going to put my stop in, I'll put my stop in the low of Thursday's candle, the low end of it. So let's change the color here. Change it to red. There we go. I'd like to buy it below this pink line here. But I also wanted to get above that pink line as soon as possible. Now, if it floats in there for a day or two, okay. But I would prefer to move above that pink line. Basically, Thursday's high, Thursday's close up here is what I would like. Then we'll look at about 23, then about 73, then about 78, 70 up here, then 89 on this chart on CRUS. Let's see here. Let's take a look at another semiconductor, and this is NXPI. We're sitting right here on the 50-period moving average. We've been trending up, and you can see that we've bounced off of it a little bit. Great looking morning star engulf, inside day, Hiromi here. We closed above the T-line. I like the idea of a buy box, buy in the buy box, and then we'll put our stop, color that red. I guess I should have had this already done, shouldn't I? We're going to put our stop just below this candle's low in here. Then I'm looking at 145, then possibly 170 on the NXPI trade. Okay, now let's take a look at a couple of bank stocks. There we go. PACW. The regional banks have been doing very well. Seems like here the last day or two I've noticed a lot of action in them. And I like the action of PACW. I like the chart pattern in PACW, and I like it that it's in a rounded bottom breakout. So here we have move down, inverted hammer, bullish engulf, and we had follow through. Excuse me, catching a little cold here, I think. Closing above the T-line on Friday, looking for inside the buy box for a buy on a positive candle. That's what I like. I know some traders don't care if it's a positive candle. They just want it in the buy box. I'm looking for the buy box, and I'm going to use a close below the 50 period moving average as a stop. I'm looking for it to travel up to about 2150, followed by 2435 up here. The rounded bottom breakout, it's no longer a rounded bottom breakout once it breaks out of that 2150 or the 200 simple. I've got it marked here set to look at the weekly, so let's go peek at that, and here you go. So you can see that let's go back one. So our 2150 right here at the 200 daily, you can see that we're just breaking out of the price action here, and then the 2435 area, that higher number that you saw on the daily chart, that represents the 50 period moving average on the weekly chart. That looks pretty reasonable to me. Now, once we get into this weekly rounded bottom breakout, we will have broken out over the daily rounded bottom breakout setup, or the 200 period moving average. Then we're going to have a weekly rounded bottom breakout, and this looks like an awfully nice trade up into here. So PACW, this could be a great longer term trade, maybe to be thinking about, and earnings not till January. Okay, another regional bank here is FITB. Now, FITB has run up past through the 50 period, run up past the 200 period moving average. Looks like we came back and we test a little bit here around that 50 period after coming through the 200. Nice little engulf, nice little follow through. Looks to me like it'd be a pretty good buy right in that buy box around that 2350 area. Let's put our stop in there. And I'm pretty much going to go right at the bottom of the buy box. There we are. And I'm looking at 2660, and then followed by 2850 up here. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. Weekly chart, you can see that we're in that rounded bottom breakout right now. We're sitting right on the 50 period moving average. After we broke out, we come back and test. There's the 200 on the weekly chart at that 2660 area. And the 2860 area up here comes up and tests these tops over here back in February. So I'm looking at this as a possible trade with about 20% there on the stock. That's, 45-50% on the option. Okay, now, for those that don't really want to look at one single bank on the regional side, take a look at KRE. KRE is looking pretty sharp. Nice little rounded bottom breakout in here. We broke out, we pulled back, we test, and it looks like we tested with a little bit of success. Let's draw our stop on here. So we're going to put the stop just below the 200 period moving average. Let's paint that red so we can keep an eye on it. All right. We start to see follow through. I'm looking right up here toward that weekly 200 period moving average. And you know what? I guess we better put something right here. How's that? So 45.90 for a possible, target. And then when we get to these areas like this, there's always going to be some sort of consolidation. Some traders like to use these lines as targets. That's fine. That works. If it works for you, keep doing it. Let's take a look at the weekly chart and the 5280. There we go. The weekly chart is the 200 period moving average up here or on the weekly chart. The 200 period moving average is at that 5280 mark. You can see that once we get through the 50 here of 43.25-ish, 27 maybe, that gets us in a rounded bottom breakout, and that's 20% on the weekly chart after we get through the 50 period moving average. So this would be a good little target on we looked at the daily for the 45.90. It would also be a nice little target on the weekly to take a look at. Maybe peel some money off. But I'm going to watch up here and look at KRE. Maybe this might be one of those trades where you buy multiple shares, multiple contracts. This is what I might do anyway. And as we move up, I'll take some off the table, working maybe those last few shares, last contract or two, see if they can't work themselves up to 52.80. Okay, I've got one more trade here. It's a bank stock. It's not one of the regionals, but it's Wells Fargo. I'm liking what Wells Fargo is doing down here. A gap down, and we've put in three little small-bodied candles, couple of dojis, and a little. It's not quite a hammer. Certainly not quite a hammer. It tried, so we'll just call that a small-bodied candle. So what I'm looking for is maybe a buy in this area. Now, this is not usually my typical type of buy. Not usually. But I am thinking about buying in this area here. Once we get past 23.85 up here, 87, that becomes a rounded bottom breakout. Then I can get back into my type of trading. But I also see this as a possible buy in here. And even from a buy inside that green box somewhere, up to the 50 period gives you 9.5%. So that might be a little trade right there. Once you're past that 50 period moving average, like I said, then we're in something that I'm comfortable with in that rounded bottom breakout strategy. So then I'd be looking at that 25.70, then 29.50 up here. So if I buy it in this area here, which I can't guarantee that I am, but like I say, this is not usually my kind of buy, but I am considering it. Let's come down here and below Friday's body. That's what I'm going to use for a stop. There we go. All right. So that's the trade ideas for the week, trade ideas to ponder for the weekend. I hope everybody enjoys it. Remember that this is going to be a crazy Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday coming up. I'm pretty confident. It's amazing. It's an election like you've never, ever seen before. And I don't know that we'll ever see this kind of craziness again. Lord, I hope not. All right. Everyone take care. I hope you had a great weekend. We'll see you Monday in the trading room. Good luck this week.